You are walking into a store that sells dog food and chew toys to buy an animal that requires a degree in chemistry to keep alive. Some of these fish are excellent, some are biological traps waiting to crash your nitrogen cycle. If you want to know which ones are which, subscribe so I can feed my baby, because today we're going through the tier list of fish you can buy right now from PetSmart, F tier to S tier. The common pleco. There is a special kind of tragedy in selling a dinosaur to a child for $5. You see the small pattern wedge sucking on the glass, and the associate tells you it's a cleaner fish. They tell you it eats algae, and it does eat algae for about 3 months. Then it realizes fish food tastes better, stops cleaning, and decides to grow into a 2-foot-long armored river monster that produces more waste than a golden retriever. People buy these for 10-gallon tanks. A common pleco in a 10-gallon tank is like keeping a cow in a studio apartment and expecting it to do the dishes. It doesn't clean your tank. It adds a biological mortgage to your filtration system that you can never pay off. They are hardy, sure. They will survive in a bucket of sludge, but survival is not the same thing as success. This fish goes in F tier because it's a river giant sold as a janitor. Fancy goldfish. They're charming, wobbly water puppies. They beg for food. They have brains that grow outside of their skulls. The issue here isn't the store. PetSmart actually stocks fairly robust goldfish. The issue is that the fancy goldfish is a physiological disaster. We took a carp, an animal designed to swim through strong currents, and we compressed its spine until it became a sphere. Their organs are packed in there like clothes in an overstuffed suitcase. They're sold as beginner fish for bowls, but a single fancy goldfish needs 20 to 30 gallons of water just to dilute the sheer amount of ammonia it excretes. They are metabolic furnaces. If you put this fish in a bowl, it will suffocate in its own waste within a week. If you put it in a proper tank, it might float upside down anyway because we bred its swim bladder into a shape that geometry doesn't support. It's going in F tier because we bred its biology to fight against its own survival. Guys, I don't like this fish. The Chinese algae eater. This fish is the classic retail bait and switch. In the store at 2 inches long, it is a diligent worker. It scrubs leaves, it looks busy, and it fits the description on the label perfectly. But as it matures, the Chinese algae eater undergoes a personality shift that can only be described as sociopathic. It stops eating algae. It realizes that the slime coat on your other fish is high in protein and much easier to catch than scrubbing a rock. It turns into a vampiric murder pickle. It will latch onto the side of your slow-moving angelfish and suck the life out of it. It's a fish that hates its roommates and refuses to pay rent. This escapes F tier because it physically fits in a standard tank, but it goes in D tier because unlike the C tier fish, its failure mode involves active malice towards its neighbors. The bala shark. It's called a shark. It has a dorsal fin. It looks like a silver bullet. Of course you want it. It's the coolest thing in the aisle. The problem is the scale. These aren't sharks. They are oversized minnows that grow over a foot long and have the nervous energy of a caffeinated squirrel. They need to school, meaning you need at least 3 or 4 of them minimum. They are skittish, meaning if you turn on the lights too fast, they will launch themselves into the tank lid with enough force to give themselves a concussion. Unless you have a 6-foot tank in your living room, you are buying a nervous breakdown wrapped in chrome scales. They aren't bad fish, they're just in the wrong building. These rise to C tier because they aren't aggressive like the D tier, but they can't reach B tier because of the infrastructure required to keep them happy. It's absurd for a casual hobbyist. The angelfish. Now this fish is the ambassador of looks elegant but acts like a thug. They are cichlids. We forget this because they're shaped like leaves, but deep down they have the same territorial rage as their South American cousins. People buy them for community tanks, and they work until they fit a neon tetra in their mouth. And they will fit a neon tetra in their mouth. It is a geometry equation where the answer is lunch. They are fine fish if you respect what they are, predators, but they're often sold as peaceful centerpieces, which is like inviting a wolf to babysit because he has nice fur. They stay in C tier because their aggression limits your stocking options significantly, preventing them from being the easy community fish of higher tiers. Now, the neon tetra. We have to make a distinction here. There is a myth that PetSmart sells bad neons. That's not really true. The neons you see here are usually as good as the ones from your local boutique shop. They come from massive wholesalers. They all do. The problem isn't the store, it's the neon tetra itself. Decades of mass breeding have turned this fish into a genetic glass cannon. They are incredibly sensitive to unstable water parameters. If you put them in a new tank, they dissolve, they fade out. One day you have 10, the next day you have 7, and you never find the bodies. But when they live, they are the best looking fish in the hobby. Nothing beats that electric blue and red stripe. But you have to accept that you're buying a creature that treats a mild pH fluctuation as a terminal event. These climb to B tier because they fit perfectly in the average home aquarium, unlike the C tier, but they miss A tier because if you look at them wrong, they die. The Corydoras catfish, specifically the bronze or albino varieties, are great. These are excellent animals. They have personality, they wink at you, they constantly shuffle around like they've lost their contact lenses, and they're schooling fish that actually school rather than just tolerating each other's existence. The only reason they aren't higher here is the substrate issue. PetSmart sells these right next to their jagged epoxy-coated gravel. If you put a Corydora on sharp gravel, it wears down their barbels, their whiskers. Those are their sensory organs. It's like forcing someone to read Braille with sandpaper. If you buy these, you need sand. They are B tier because the fish itself is wonderful, but they miss the top spot because their well-being is entirely dependent on you ignoring the gravel the store tries to sell you. The platy. Now, the platy is the Toyota Corolla of the aquarium world. It's not that exciting, it won't turn heads, but it starts every morning. These fish are live bears, meaning they don't lay eggs, they print copies of themselves, they like the hard alkaline tap water that most of us have coming out of our pipes. They are colorful, they are active, and they are nearly impossible to offend. You can make mistakes with a platy, and the platy will generally forgive you. In a hobby defined by fragility, their indifference is a superpower. They hit A tier because unlike the fragile B tier neons, they don't require perfect water to survive, but they miss S tier simply because they still require a heater and decent filtration. Guppies. Now, credit where it's due. PetSmart's guppies are generally pretty healthy. It's hard to find good guppies these days, and these ones are not bad. The males are flashy, and the females are perpetually pregnant. The only downside is the inbreeding. To get those massive flowing tails, we have narrowed their gene pool down to a puddle. Sometimes you get a male with a spine bent like a boomerang. Sometimes they struggle to swim under the weight of their own vanity, but as a colony, they are vibrant, bulletproof, and self-replicating. You're not buying a fish, you're buying a lineage. They're gonna go in A tier here because a colony of them is practically immortal, but the individual genetic weakness keeps them out of S tier. The white cloud mountain minnow. This is the most underrated fish in the entire store. It is often sold as a feeder fish for larger predators, which is a crime. White clouds are subtropical. They don't even need a heater. In fact, they prefer room temperature. They were discovered in the mountains of China and they are built for survival. They don't eat their own babies, they don't fight, they display beautiful fin-flaring dances that look aggressive, but are just harmless posturing. They are 5 times hardier than a neon tetra and cost half as much. They are the perfect aquarium fish, they ask for nothing, and give you a bustling, peaceful, colorful society. They take S tier because they combine the hardiness of the platy with the schooling behavior of the neon, all while requiring less equipment than any other fish on this list. PetSmart sells complex aquatic life a few feet away from the dog treats, which creates a dangerous illusion of simplicity. The store isn't the villain, but they will happily sell you a biological time bomb for $3 if you ask for one. It's your job to know that you cannot negotiate with ammonia. Buy the fish that fits your water, not the one that matches the neon gravel. If you want to keep learning, check out the video on screen. I'm Art Gills, and I'll see you in the next one.